I'm Daisy Wilson, and I thought I knew what family meant until the morning I found a shiny silver SUV parked in my parents' driveway in our quiet Colorado suburb. It gleamed like it belonged on a magazine cover, not in the cracked concrete lot next to my mom's old sedan. My hands gripped the steering wheel of my practical Honda Accord, knuckles pale as my sister Chloe twirled around the SUV, her laughter echoing like she just won the lottery. "Isn't it gorgeous?" she called, running her freshly manicured nails along the hood. "Got it. For steel." The dealer practically begged me to take it. I just come off a grueling 12-hour shift at the Denver bank where I work as a compliance officer. My blazer wrinkled and my eyes burning from staring at spreadsheets. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Another overdraft alert from my bank. I'd been ignoring those notifications all week, convincing myself it was a glitch. But something about Chloe's smug grin made my stomach twist. "Chloe," I said, keeping my voice steady as I stepped out of my car. "Where do you get the money for this?" She tossed her blonde hair, styled just like our moms, and smirked. "Oh, don't start with the lecture, Daisy. Mom and stepdad helped me sort it out. Right, guys?" Our parents stood on the porch holding cheap champagne flutes, grinning like they were at a ribbon-cutting ceremony. My mom shot me that look, the one that said, "Don't ruin this, Daisy." She needed something reliable. "Honey," Mom said, walking over with that soothing tone she used when she wanted me to back off. "We just dipped into that emergency fund you set up for us." My heart stopped. That wasn't an emergency fund. That was my $60,000 house down payment. Every penny I'd scraped together over years of late nights and skipped vacations, dreaming of a sleek loft in Denver's Rhino district. I'd been picturing it for months. Big windows, exposed brick, a space that was mine. Not another bill I paid for someone else. "You what?" whispered, my voice barely audible over the blood pounding in my ears. "Don't be so dramatic," Chloe said, rolling her eyes. "You're like a money wizard. You'll save it again in no time. Besides, you always say family comes first." She leaned against the SUV, checking her reflection in the window. I pulled out my phone, hands shaking, and opened my banking app. My balance stared back at me. $12,743. "You left me with nothing," I said, shoving the screen toward her. "You didn't even ask me." My stepdad cleared his throat, adjusting his faded Broncos cap. "Now, Daisy, Chloe's got job interviews lined up. She needs to look the part." I let out a bitter laugh. "What interviews?" "The ones after the barista job she quit because it was too early, or the retail gig she ditched because it was boring." Chloe's face crumpled right on cue and she buried it in Mom's shoulder. "Daisy's being mean," she sobbed, "like we were kids again. And I'd stolen her favorite doll." "Daisy, please," Mom said, wrapping an arm around Chloe. "You know she's been struggling. We have to support her. You've always been the strong one. The strong one. The responsible one. The one who at 14 balanced the family checkbook because stepdad couldn't figure out why it was always overdrawn. The one who worked 2 jobs in college so Chloe could afford her dream art classes she never finished. I've been carrying them for so long. The weight felt normal until now. "You're right," I said quietly, my voice cold as I pulled out my phone again. Mom's face softened, thinking she'd won. "I am the strong one." I scrolled to the bank's contact number, my thumb hovering over the call button. "And I'm also the one whose name is on every family account. The one who's been paying off stepdad's credit card since he retired. At 55 with no savings. The one who set up that emergency fund you just drained. Stepdad froze, his champagne glass halfway to his mouth. What are you doing, Daisy? He asked, his voice sharp. Hello, I said into the phone, stepping away from Mom's outstretched hand. This is Daisy. I'd like to close account. Number 782,391. Immediately. Yes, I understand. It'll affect linked accounts. That's the point. Mom lunged for my phone, but I sidestepped her. You can't do this, she gasped. Actually, I can, I said, locking eyes with Chloe. It's my money. Enjoy the SUV, sis. Hope it's worth it. Chloe's face twisted. You're just jealous, she shouted as I headed to my car. Jealous that Mom and Stepdad actually care about me, that I'm living my best life while you're stuck being boring. I paused, hand on my car door, and turned back with a smile. You know, what's funny about karma, Chloe? Sometimes it doesn't wait. It shows up fast, like say in a few days when those credit cards stop working. I slid into my driver's seat, my hands still trembling but my resolve solid. In the rearview mirror, I saw Stepdad frantically dialing his phone while Mom hugged a sobbing Chloe. They looked like the perfect family portrait, the one I'd paid for last Christmas, just like I'd paid for everything else. Not anymore. Drove a few blocks, pulled over, and called Ryan, my college friend who'd been telling me for years to stop bailing them out. Ryan, it's me, I said. When he picked up, I finally did it. Something big. About damn time, he said, his voice warm. Want to grab a drink and spell the details? I glanced back toward my parents' house where Chloe's SUV glowed under the streetlights. Yeah, said. And bring your laptop. We're going to need it. A few days later I sat across from Ryan at a dimly lit Denver bar, the kind with craft beers and exposed brick walls that reminded me of the loft I was supposed to buy. My gin and tonic sat untouched, the ice melting into a puddle as Ryan's laptop screen glowed between us. They've been bleeding you dry for years, he said, scrolling through a spreadsheet he'd pulled together for my account records. Look at this, $1,150 here, $80 there. Small enough you wouldn't notice. Adds up to over $10,000 just in the last 2 years. I stared at the numbers, my stomach churning. I'd always prided myself on being meticulous, checking balances, tracking expenses, but I'd missed this. How? I whispered more to myself than to Ryan. He leaned back, running a hand through his dark hair. That joint account you opened with your Mom back in college, you forgot about it, but they didn't. It's like a back door they've been sneaking through. Ryan and I had met freshman year, bonding over late-night study sessions and shared dreams of escaping our messy families. He'd gotten out, built a solid career as an accountant, but I'd stayed tangled in mine, always the one to fix things. Growing up, I was the kid who made Chloe's lunches when Mom was too tired, who tutored her through high school because she couldn't focus. Thought I was helping family. Nah. Staring at Ryan's screen, I saw the truth. I'd been their ATM. My phone, but it buzzed again. You owe us, Daisy. Family first, remember? I slid the phone to Ryan. He scanned the messages, his jaw tightening. They've got nerve, he muttered, saying you owe them after this. He turned the laptop toward me, pointing to a line of transfers. This one's from last month, $1,500 to a boutique, probably Chloe's influencer wardrobe. I took a sip of my drink, the gin sharp on my tongue. I should have seen it, I said. All those years I thought I was helping them get by. Ryan shook his head. You were a kid when it started, Daisy. They trained you to feel Guilty. That's not your fault. My phone lit up again. Mom, this time Daisy. Please. The bank's saying our credit lines are frozen. Stepdad's cards aren't working. We have bills. Chloe needs I cut her off mid-sentence, handing the phone to Ryan. Read this. He skimmed it, his eyes narrowing. They're still playing the victim. Answer it. Let them know you're done. I hesitated, then hit the call button, putting it on speaker. Daisy. Mom's voice quavered. What did you do? The bank's threatening to shut everything down. Exactly what I said I'd do. I replied, my voice steady despite the nod in my chest. I closed my accounts. You can't use me anymore. But we're family, she pleaded. Your stepdad's behind on bills. Chloe might lose her car. What about my house, Mom? I shot back. The one I've been saving for since I was 24. The one you let Chloe drain for her stupid SUV. We didn't steal, she snapped. We borrowed. You know we'll pay you back. I laughed. The sound hollow. Will you? Because I checked stepdad's credit report. I'm still listed as an authorized user on 7 maxed out cards. I've been making payments on them for years. Silence. Then a week. Daisy, please come over. We can talk. I glanced at Ryan, who gave a firm shake of his head. I'll be there. In 20, I said, grabbing my bag. Ryan raised an eyebrow. You're actually going? They need to see me? I said, slinging my purse over my shoulder. They need to know I'm not backing down. 20 minutes later, I walked into my parents' living room. The familiar smell of Mom's lavender candles doing nothing to calm me. Chloe sat on the couch, mascara streaking her cheeks. Stepdad paced by the window, phone pressed to his ear. The bank won't budge, he muttered. Hanging up. They're calling in all hour. Credit by the weekend. Something about unsecured loans. That would be my savings, I said, sitting down and crossing my legs. The ones Chloe used for her shiny new toy. This isn't funny. Chloe snapped, her voice shrill. They're saying I could lose the car. Do you know how humiliating that would be? Almost as humiliating as telling my realtor I lost my down payment, I said, keeping my tone even. Or finding out my family's been treating me like a cash machine my whole life. We didn't mean to hurt you, Mom said, tears welling up. Things have been tight since your stepdad retired early, which I told him was a terrible idea. Cut in. No savings, no plan. And I've been cleaning up the mess ever since. Stepdad's face re-eamed. Now listen here. No, you listen, I said, standing. I've paid your bills, covered your secrets, and lost my dream because of it. You helped Chloe steal my future, and I'm done. Chloe sobbed. You're so good with money, Daisy. You'll save it again. Exactly, I said, heading for the door. That's why I'm cutting you off for good. Mom grabbed my arm, her grip desperate. You can't do this to us. I gently pulled away. Parents are supposed to protect their kids, not use them like a credit card. Check your mail tomorrow. The bank's sending notices about your defaulted accounts. Oh, and Chloe, keep that SUV in the garage. Repo guys don't mess around. I stepped outside, the door clicking shut behind me. Ryan waited in his car, engine humming. You okay? He asked as I buckled in. I glanced at my parents' house, Mom's silhouette in the window, already on the phone, probably begging my aunt for a loan. No, I said, honestly. But I will be. For the first time, I really will. The next morning I sat at my kitchen table surrounded by takeout containers from last night's marathon with Ryan. My laptop was open, displaying a web of transactions he'd traced. Money siphoned from my accounts. To Chloe's shopping sprees and my parents' bills. $400. Zero, Ryan said, his voice low. That's what they've taken over the years. Small transfers hidden in that old joint account you forgot about. I gripped the table, my head spinning. I'd always watched my money like a hawk, but they'd found a blind spot. And my phone buzzed. Chloe again. Stepdad's in the ER. Chest pains. Your fault. Happy now? I didn't respond, but the word stung. Ryan glanced at the screen. Don't let her in. Your head, he said, still typing. Look at this. They co-signed Chloe's SUV loan. In your name. You never signed anything. My breath caught. That's fraud, I said. The word feeling heavy. Real fraud. The doorbell rang and Mia, my realtor, burst in with a thick envelope. You won't believe this, she said, tossing it on the table. I checked property records. For that loft we loved. Your parents listed you as a guarantor on their condo. Refinance last week. Your signature's on it forged. I grabbed the papers, my hands shaking. The signature was mine, but sloppier, like someone had practiced it. They're desperate, Ryan said. Closing in, and they're using your name to stay afloat. My phone rang. My boss, Declan, calling way past office hours. Daisy, sorry for the late call, he said, his voice serious. Your sister applied for a job here. Used you as a reference. Claimed she has a finance degree and 4 years experience. Said you'd back her up. I let out a dry laugh. She flunked out after 1 semester. Thought so, Declan said, papers rustling. With your role here, we need to handle this carefully. I straightened. Declan, there's something you need to know about my family. 20 minutes later, I hung up, my heart racing. Mia and Ryan watched me, waiting. Declan's reporting Chloe for lying on her application. I said, sinking into a chair, and he gave me tomorrow off to file police reports. Ryan spun his laptop toward me. There's more. That private school attended. Senior year, they didn't waive her tuition. Your parents used your name as a guarantor. You've been paying it through auto withdrawals for years. Anger surged through me. That's why they told me to keep that joint account open. I said they called it emergencies. Their emergency was keeping up their lifestyle. While Chloe played influencer. My phone buzzed again. Mom, stepdad's in the ER. Blood pressure is through the roof. Please, Daisy, if you ever loved us, Mia snatched my phone. Don't answer. They're reeling you back in. What if he's really sick? I asked, pacing. Then that's their mess, Ryan said firmly. They chose this. Another text from Chloe. If stepdad dies, it's on you. I'll never forgive you. I grabbed the phone for Mia and typed back, betrayal. I'm calling the police, I said, picking up my phone. Then every bank they've lied to. They're not just family, they're criminals who share my DNA. At the Denver police station, Detective Lauren Hayes spread my documents across her desk, her eyebrows climbing with each page. This is serious, she said, jotting notes. You're saying this has been going on for years? I didn't see the full picture until now, I admitted, handing her another folder. Loan papers, credit cards, Chloe's car. All in my name, all forged. She nodded, her expression grim. This is major fraud. If we move forward, there's no going back. You sure? My phone buzzed. Chloe again. Stepdad's out of the hospital. No thanks to you. Mom's a mess. How can you be so cruel? I showed the text to Detective Hayes. This is why. I'm sure, I said. They're still trying to guilt me. She gave a sad smile. Family financial abuse is more common than you'd think. The door opened and Declan walked in carrying a manila envelope. Sorry I'm late, he said, laying out more papers. Chloe's fake job application was just a start. She's been using Daisy's name on job forms, school records, loans, claiming Daisy would verify her lies. Detective Hayes' pen moved faster. This changes everything. We're looking at multiple counts of fraud, identity theft, financial abuse. My phone rang, Mom. Hayes nodded. Put it on speaker. Daisy, please. Mom's voice cracked. The bank's threatening fraud charges against your stepdad. You have to help us. I can't, Mom, I said, my voice steady. Not after you stole my identity, forged my signature, drained my accounts. We didn't mean to hurt you, she said. We needed help. You're so good with money, Mrs. Wilson. Hayes cut in. This is Detective Lauren Hayes, Financial Crimes Unit. I suggest you get a lawyer now. The line went dead. Hayes gathered the papers. With this evidence, we'll have warrants by morning. The courtroom in downtown Denver felt smaller than I'd imagined. The wooden benches creaking under my weight as I sat with Detective Hayes beside me. My parents sat at the defendant's table, looking older, friar in ill-fitting, formal clothes. Chloe slouched in the gallery, her glare sharp enough to cut glass. I clutched my victim impact statement for pages of pain I'd spent weeks crafting. Every word a release of years I'd kept buried. All rise, the bailiff called. Hayes squeezed my hand. You ready? I nodded, my heart pounding, but my step steady. The state versus Ellen and Michael. The judge began, but a commotion at the door interrupted. My parents' lawyer rushed in, whispering urgently. Mom's face crumpled. Stepdad bowed his head. Your Honor, the lawyer said, standing, my clients wish to plead guilty to all charges. Chloe gasped from the back. Mom, no. The judge peered over his glasses. You understand there's no trial, no defense. Stepdad nodded. We understand. The judge shuffled papers. Before sentencing, we'll hear the victim's statement. Ms. Wilson. I walked to the front, my heels clicking on the marble floor, my hands trembling but my voice clear. Your Honor, I've tried to tally the financial damage my family caused. Every stolen dollar, every forged loan, every account opened in my name. But the real cost, that's harder to measure. Mom started crying, but I pressed on. How do you quantify betrayal? The realization that every I love you meant I love what I can take from you. That's not true. Chloe stood, her voice shaking. Miss, the judge said sharply. Sit down or be removed. I face my family. You said, family means giving everything. But you meant I give everything while you took. And took. You picked the wrong person to use. Daisy, please. Mom whispered, reaching out. We can fix this. No, I said you're not sorry for what you did. Just sorry you got caught. The judge cleared his throat. Given the guilty plea and the severity of these crimes, I'm ready to sentence. Stepdad stood. Your Honor, we did it for our daughter. Which one? I asked quietly. The one you stole from or the one you gave everything to? The judge slammed his gavel. Mr. Wilson, sit down. For the extent and duration of this fraud, I sentence you both to 6 years in state prison with parole eligibility after 3. You'll also repay every cent stolen. Chloe sobbed loudly. This is your fault, Daisy. I hate you. The judge turned to her. Miss Wilson, you have your own trial next week for fraud and identity theft. Save your outbursts. Outside, reporters swarmed, cameras flashing. Miss Wilson, how does it feel to send your parents to prison? One shouted. I didn't send them, I said calmly. Their choices did. Mom called out as officers led them away. Daisy, we did this for you kids. No, I replied. You did it to us. Chloe lunged toward me, but their lawyer held her back. You're dead to me, she screamed. Funny, I said, because I've never felt more alive. Hayes and Ryan flanked me like bodyguards as we pushed through the crowd. I end the parking lot. Ryan opened his car door. Drink? He asked. I pulled out my phone, showing an email. Actually, I've got a house closing. That loft we saw last week. Mia's face lit up. Karma's got great timing, she said. Your parents lose their house and you get yours. Chloe's voice rang out across the lot. Daisy, where are mom and stepdad supposed to go when they're out? Not my problem. I called back. Try getting a job. I hear Target's hiring. We drove off. I glanced in the rear view mirror. Officers loaded my parents into a prison van. Chloe stood alone, yelling into her phone, mascara streaming. Ryan touched my arm. You okay? I thought of the loft waiting for me. My new start. You know what? I said, a smile breaking through. I really am. Back at my office. Declan called me in. Papers covered his desk. Chloe's been busy, he said. Tried opening credit cards at 7 banks. Using your job title. When that failed, she used our company's name. I shook my head, stunned. She also applied to our competitor, claiming she was an analyst. Here with you as her reference. Added to the fraud charges, I said. Declan smiled. Already done. But that's not all. The board's impressed with how you handled this. They're offering you senior risk analyst. I blinked. Seriously? You uncovered fraud in your own family and reported it. He said. That's the integrity we need. I walked out head high to find Mia and Ryan waiting. Well, Mia asked. Promoted, I said, and she hugged me tight. Told. You, karma works both ways, she grinned. The last moving box hit the floor of my new Denver loft. Sunlight streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows, glinting off the granite counters I'd fallen for during the tour. I can't believe this is mine, I said, running my hand over the smooth surface. Oh, mine. Mia popped a champagne bottle, grinning. First night in your dream home. Calls for a celebration. Ryan set down a box of dishes, his smile warm. You earned this. Details. Mia gently took my phone. No. Family drama tonight. This is your moment. The doorbell rang and Detective Hayes stepped in holding a folder. Hope I'm not crashing moving day, she said. Your parents tried an appeal. Denied. They claimed you gave them permission for everything. I laughed. Of course. They did. Hayes smirked. The judge didn't buy it. Ryan called from the kitchen. Laptop open. Check this out. Post from your cousin. I leaned over. Daisy ruined her family out of jealousy. Now she's living large in a fancy loft. Bought with blood money. I snorted. Blood money? You mean what I saved that they didn't steal? Mia cracked her knuckles. Want me to clap back? Nah. Said, unpacking a frame. Let them stew. I've got better things to do. The doorbell rang again. Declan holding a bottle of wine. Housewarming gift, he said. And news. How do you feel about speaking at next month's financial security conference? The board thinks your story could help others spot family financial abuse. I paused. So many people were trapped, like I'd been scared to break free. I'm in, I said. Someone's got to show them there's a way out. He handed me an envelope. Your new contract. With the raise we discussed. My phone buzzed, an unknown number, but I knew the prison area code. Daisy. Mom's voice trembled. I'm sorry. Sorry for what you did, or sorry you got caught? I asked. Silence. Thought so. Goodbye, Mom. She rushed on. Your stepdad and I have nowhere to go when we're out. Chloe can't help. She can't. I agreed, glancing at my friend's unpacking boxes. Because you taught her to take, not earn. But you taught me something too. Who not to be. I hung up my hand steady. You okay? Ryan asked. Better than. Okay, I said, grabbing wine glasses. I'm free. Mia raised her glass too. Freedom and karma doing its job. Hayes checked her phone. Speaking of Chloe's. Headed to state prison tomorrow. Want updates? No, I said firmly. Their story is not mine anymore. Ryan set down a plate. So what is your story? Looked around my loft, my walls, my life. It's just beginning, I said, smiling. And I'm writing it. A month later, I stood at the conference podium. My voice steady as I told my story, how my family used me, how I fought back, how I won. The audience leaned in, some nodding, others wiping tears. You're not alone, I said. If someone's taking from you, even family, you can say no. You can rebuild. Applause filled the room. And I felt lighter than ever. To everyone who's followed my journey, thank you. You've walked with me through betrayal, battles, and breakthroughs. If my story hit home, hit that subscribe button and join us. Every choice you make, every boundary you set is a step toward your own freedom. Keep building your truth, and I'll see you in the next